I don't need to be clever every fucking time, right? So
yes. Usual.
Hey guys, what's up? Angry Joe. We just got back from the theaters where we saw Marvel's latest film, the 18th now, Black Panther. And I'll just give you my first impressions right off the bat. It's a really, really great film for me. I'm happily surprised it was everything that I wanted out of it. And I just can't believe that we're going full steam ahead, and we haven't really had them fall on their face yet with any of these things. And it seems to be that they know what they're doing. For me, you know, this film obviously comes with a lot of hype and a lot of anticipation. You were saying something that there was, you know, some parts of the internet have agendas.
Yeah, what are you doing there, Alex? Stay away from there.
Yeah.
Have agendas to sort of downvote this.
Yeah, they were trying to make this out to be one of the worst films, and they're gonna really tough it. This film was good.
Yeah, this was a great film in my opinion, and something that we haven't seen before. What I really, really enjoyed. I'm gonna break it down for you this way. This film is one of the best. It contains one of the best Marvel villains, and I actually ended up loving this villain here, and when a film has me feel emotion for its villain, that's really rare, at least in these Marvel films. So I felt emotion for the villain. I thought he was one of the stronger villains with actual reasons to do what he's doing, and so it fixes that problem. It also provides a really interesting, unique color palette, design, all these sort of futuristic tribal things.
I really like the environment they made. Like, you still kept it to the culture, but they still had like all the technology was so cool.
And the music. Like, I'm already a fan of any kind of tribal movies and stuff like this, and for when and to see this done in a comic book style, it really felt like a comic book movie to me. And there were some moments of suspensions of disbelief that you had to, okay, this is a comic book movie, all right? But it just executed it so well, and I'm really happy to see that this film does such a good job, and with such a great villain that he almost, for me, steals the show from the main protagonist, T'Challa, Black Panther. I almost want his arch rival to win. Anyway, what did you feel about the film?
I liked it a lot. I think it actually felt like almost two very distinct, different films. Like the beginning of the movie, like you've got some great scenes that almost feel like a James Bond film. A lot of infiltration. There's some spy work. They're setting up a sting. And then at the end, it feels more like the traditional comic book movie where there's, you know, the big showdown with the bad guy. But I really liked the beginning of the film because it felt very different than some of the other ones that we've seen.
Yeah, Andy Serkis is a great actor. He's quite a personality in this. He's not just a visual effects puppet, you know what I mean? He actually does quite a good job. And that first room, and you know, we take a trip to South Korea, I think, but when they reveal Wakanda, that was pretty impressive, and this sort of you know, ritual that they do for kingship and challenging the king, and another
and it actually this continues right afterwards. It's Civil War, so it's like he's coming back after that happens. He's getting his sister, and it's his crowning ceremony.
So yeah, it ties directly into that pretty well, but it also stands on its own, in my opinion. Like, you could know nothing about the rest of the Marvel universe, and actually have a pretty good story, pretty good origin story here for Black Panther.
Yeah, they built it up pretty well. I was surprised because I didn't know much about this movie. This movie.
Oh yeah.
Same thing with
the
everything
comics,
else they do,
right?
though. Like Ant-Man, I didn't know.
Yeah. They keep
finding make me a fan.
Man, they keep finding a way to make these characters that you don't think are gonna be popular. Ant-Man, Guardians of the Galaxy, Black Panther. But this has been a long time, you know, coming. I think that the fact that it's so fresh and new and different, that really helps this film. But along with a really strong villain, along with a really great visual design and music, I also think the supporting cast in this film is really good. Like, almost every single side character, this, you know, like a supporting character, I was on board with. I was like, man, that's cool. His relationship with his sister, his relationship with his ex, his father, when you go on these sort of ancient journeys, not ancient journeys, but what do you call it?
Spirit
trips. Yeah, I'm like, oh man, look at this fucking cool. It looks like Lion King, but just purple, or purple Lion King with panthers, and I was just loving all of the different aspects.
Characters actually had a part. They played a great part, and everybody felt like they weren't worthless.
And they were very important. I mean, his sister, like the actress that played the sister was incredible. I mean, she did a really, really good job. You talked about Andy Serkis kind of like stealing the show, and there were scenes where it's just like I want her to be the main character because like she's just great. Yeah,
and the movie, one of the big things I went in thinking is, okay, what the and I'm thinking within the universe, what the Wakanda band, Africa is not exactly in good shape in some places, and you assholes are sitting on vibranium. You got all this technology I seen in the trailers, you fucking assholes. And I'm wondering how they're going to answer this question. And by the end of the film, they answer the question, and they answer it in a comic book satisfactory way, where it's like, okay, here's after this film, it is definitely a new chapter in the Black Panther mythos, and it opens it up, and I like that sort of potential and that promise of Wakanda, opening things up in the Marvel universe, and we're probably going to see some of that pay off in Infinity War. There are 2 after credits scenes, so definitely stay after credits for those. And we'll talk about spoilers in the spoiler section. But let's continue discussing the film. How did you feel, Joe, about some of the CGI? Because obviously some of the shots with Black Panther when he's doing flips and kicks and stuff. What did you feel about CGI?
The CGI was not a problem for me at all, except for like I guess the last battle when they were fighting, it was getting too much.
Yeah. So
too much.
There was a couple of things that really bothered me. Andy Serkis, his sleeve. That he's sitting there and he's missing an arm. And you can see his sleeve and it just doesn't look right. And I couldn't do anything. I'm just locking on this sleeve, going like, how is this so bad? Like you guys are better than this. All of the other scenes so far have been great. Why is this sleeve so bad?
Yeah. So I'm taking a different stance. I don't know. Maybe it's because my vision was a little blurry, or we were sitting a little close to the theater. I felt the CGI was a little weaker. It was convincing. Okay, it was convincing, but I think this is one of the films that's going to age poorly. And you're going to notice a lot of the CGI that you didn't notice in the first time viewing. And I think that a little bit too much was used in the climax of the film, when we have our hero going up against our villain. Now, obviously, they use a lot of CGI, sort of like Green Lantern, remember his CGI body? Yeah. And I hate that shit. And they do that a lot with the Black Panther. And I understand certain moves require some of that, because you can't move like a Black Panther realistically.
Like when him walking up, his head's like going like weird ways.
Not quite as bad as Justice League, Cyborg, but it was good. But if there had been more practical effects of those guys just going at it, like we're talking like Daredevil television
I want a real
style.
Rhino.
I want real Rhino. Well, we'll get to that in the spoilers. But yeah, so drag out, just punch out fights. And what's interesting is the location of the final battle sets up something, right? And then they kind of sidestep it and don't use it and return to the CGI. And I was like, oh, it's going to be a drag-out fight. And no, we're back to the sort of CGI fighting. So I think towards the end, the CGI, was getting a little bit in the way of the enjoyment. But this is, just something, a slight nitpick of mine. I really enjoyed the different tribes and the universe and mythos of the Wakandan country. I think they've nailed every single aspect of Wakanda and makes me so interested in it. I love the rival tribes that are kind of, assholes, and I'm not going to ruin anything for you, but there's a lot of interplay between the tribes and honoring tradition, and that stuff was great. But was there any missteps for you guys?
There were some parts in the movie where it felt like, is this scene necessary? Like, we had a lot of excitement in the beginning, and we had a lot of excitement in the end. But there were some parts in the middle where I'm sitting there, it's like,
You felt it was dragging a bit?
A little, I mean, not a lot. And like you're saying, like, what is, if I'm going to nitpick, what am I going to nitpick? We talked about the CG, and like it was a little bit slow in the very middle of the movie. Other than that, I mean, I wanted, this movie had a lot of, rather than just like be average and then like a huge high note at the end like some of the other comic book movies, this one actually had a lot of like really good parts all the way through, but the climax wasn't as
climactic.
Epic. Yeah, well, as epic as it could have been. Like they set us up for this kind of
invasion of you know, some forces across the world.
Yeah, you see this massive
and
fight.
It is very limited. I see what you're saying.
There's like 40 people just like running around, and it's like I wanted a. I mean, I know it's hard.
You don't get that shit in Infinity War.
I want a Braveheart-sized thing going on, and instead I got
your money. Right?
I get it.
And to me, it's like, how big is Wakanda? I'm actually kind of looking at Wakanda as one city. Okay, I'm not even looking at it as multiple cities all over the place.
You can kind of believe that with the sets they use.
Oh, well, we have to get that. We have to talk about that in spoilers.
No, we can talk about that here.
Just the sets.
There's one goddamn set. There's only one street in Wakanda, and we walked down it like 5 times.
Really?
Yeah, and then there's like the
sandbags. That chicken. I want that chicken.
That
chicken. No, it looked burnt to me.
I like that though. I like it's crispy. It's on the grill. That
seasoning.
Yeah, seriously, that vibranium grill makes it real nice.
I love the world of Wakanda. I love those the bald-headed women bodyguards. Like every time the general was on screen, I was glued to the fucking screen. I just love their traditions and all their maneuvers. They're so clean cut and military, and you're like, okay, these girls are gonna kick some fucking ass.
And they do.
And they do kick some fucking ass a lot. So I hope we continue to see some of those girls in Infinity War, and that's not. Well, probably against Thanos.
Everyone's gonna die.
Yeah. But let's go ahead and give our final verdict so we can get to the nitty-gritty, juicy stuff in the spoiler section. Shoot. Okay, let's do this, Joe. It sounded like you enjoyed it a little less than I did when we were walking out.
I did. I still had a lot of fun with it. Like the actors, Michael and Chadwick, both great actors. I believe their parts, and I felt their emotions.
Yeah.
Supporting cast did their part. I really liked them as well.
Yeah.
Everybody was memorable. And also
Michael B. Jordan is just so good, man.
Yeah,
dude is freaking cut too, man.
He's also doing Creed and everything.
Yeah,
else,
Creed, right? He got in shape. This is the director of Creed as well.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's why probably they work together again. And he's a relatively young director. I think this director did a fantastic job bringing this world to life, especially kind of an obscure side comic. But yeah.
And then not knowing much about Wakanda and Black Panther, they didn't cram it in your face, but they still gave you enough to like know what was going on. So I like that, and the tie-in with Civil War. So I'm gonna have to give this an 8 out of 10.
An 8 out of 10. Okay. And where did you feel like it missed? Because there are some people like loving this film. Like
you said, I did like Eric Killmonger, Michael B. Jordan. There's not enough of him though.
To me there was enough of him, Joe. I completely disagree. That's what makes the villain for me.
I wanted some more of him.
Okay. All right. Well, to build on the fact that you actually care.
I agree with Alex. In the middle, there's like some like little parts. I'd rather have him instead.
Right. Instead of T'Challa's sort of journey, reclaiming his kingdom and kind of that kind of stuff. Okay. So 8 out of 10.
I'm gonna go right there. I think it's an 8 out of 10. I think that there were some parts with the CG that were that bothered me a little bit. It was a little bit slower than I wanted it to be. It didn't have the big boom at the end that they set us up for, right? And you're like, oh, this is gonna be good.
Oh yeah,
this is gonna be good.
All right, that was fine. Okay, that's good.
I mean, you get a golf clap. I'm not standing up, but you get a golf clap. That was pretty good. So
they kind of set up like a bigger thing, but then they
kind of pulled back a little bit.
Yes.
And so
I felt it.
Great movie. It's not a legendary comic book movie, and it's not one that I'm going to constantly watch over and over again. But if someone's like, hey, this weekend you want to see it? Yeah, I'll go see it again.
I like it more than these guys. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. I really think it's something fresh and unique in the Marvel Universe. I loved all the designs. Maybe it's just I like these kinds of movies a lot more. Movies set in Africa, tribal, a unique... You know, guys, how big of a nut of sci-fi I am. So when you mix this sort of sci-fi technology with sort of...
Suku's music?
Oh, man, you know my love of Suku's music. Goddamn, why you gotta bring that up here, Joe? Anyway, so I just love seeing, like, different designs, and this is something we've not seen before. And it's a great film that all audiences can enjoy. It's not just for, you know, African Americans or anything like that, but this is one of the films that they can champion because they've got a fantastic cast of characters. These are stellar actors. Like, every single one of them does a great job. I mean, perhaps the only one that didn't really stand out, but is a supporting character, is Watson, you know, from
Martin Freeman?
Yeah, Martin Freeman. For me, you know, it's like he was kind of didn't have much to do.
He was a throwaway side.
He was a throwaway side CIA. Here's the tie to America guy, right? Because mostly, I mean, none of this is in the United States, and that was interesting, you know. And there was a little bit of American. Yeah, there he's American. little jabs at America here and there, but I thought it was interesting, and I really enjoyed it. So. Strong villain, fixes that big criticism I've had. Really engaging the whole way through. And when it started to drag, I felt it, but I wasn't bothered by it because it was building more lore. He was going on these journeys. I like the epic story of, you know, first setting up the Civil War stuff, you got to wrap that up, then actually doing an origin story kind of thing, and taking the kingdom, and then, you know, having to deal with the conflict in the film we'll get to in the spoilers, and just resolving it in an interesting way, and then opening it up. I think it's a fantastic first film for the Black Panther series.
I don't know how the Black Panther does it, though.
I would love to see way more of these.
He's a king and the Black Panther.
Yeah, he's a king, he's a Black Panther. When do you have time to even fucking train for any of this stuff and use the technology and then go out and help the Avengers?
It's a supporting cast that helps him out. He's got a bunch of assistants that are great.
Yeah, so I think it's awesome. This is one you definitely need to see in theaters. This is one I'll definitely own on DVD. 9 out of 10 from me. Thank you guys so much for watching. And we'll stick around if you want to talk spoilers, okay? So we'll see you on the next Angry Joe Show. Bye, guys. Okay, welcome to the spoiler section. First, let's talk about the two stingers at the end. So, what was the first stinger? It was kind of inconsequential, right?
He goes to the UN and he says that they're gonna help.
Oh yeah, that's them opening up, but actually it does have more implications because they could have just now Wakanda wants to integrate with the rest of the world. It answers that question. Why the fuck you guys been hiding and hauling all that technology while there's starving children in Africa? My mom would say all the time and make me eat my damn broccoli.
They're a mile away though, so you can help them.
Exactly. So that you hypocrites, I fucking hate you, but they try to address that. But it's a comic, and obviously, you know, whatever. So, but they open it up, and I'm really excited to see this leadership from Wakanda and sharing technology and stuff like that. They're definitely gonna play a factor in Infinity War. Ain't gonna matter at all because Thanos is like, yeah, oh, that's nice, you know. It's a perfect time to do it because shit is about to get real. And then the final stinger is they made a comment. Everybody laughed in the theater like, oh, you're bringing me another broken-ass white boy or something like that. That was the only, like, race thing that they had ever said. And it was funny. It wasn't, like, you know, bad or anything. But I was like, who the fuck are they talking about? What? There was another broken white boy that got brought to Wakanda, and I forgot.
You forgot about it, yeah.
I forgot about it. It was Bucky.
Yeah.
And so he's shown at the end that he's in a hut, and little boys are, like, you know, messing around with him.
White Wolf.
Yeah, he's the White Wolf. I was like, what? Witcher up in here? Why didn't he walk out with white hair? But yeah, so the White Wolf is Bucky, and I was wondering what they're gonna do with this character, or just put him in that tube or whatever, and say.
Leave him for the tube forever. Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess they're gonna fucking do some stuff with him. So we have that to look forward to. But really, honestly, this one didn't shove a lot of the Marvel universe in our face. It really was kind of allowed to do its own thing, be its own thing. You know, sort of like Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and I really enjoyed that one. Yeah. So what else?
Well, the fighting scene, I didn't really like this setting for it. They were like underneath the adamantium mountain.
Yeah, so that's when I
Oh,
was...
the final, like the real final fight, not the Braveheart Rhino fight.
What did you have a problem with the Braveheart? I thought it was fucking badass when you have those chicks going and fighting. And
when they are themselves fighting, and you can see them fighting. It's great. Yeah. But the problem is there's this grand melee that's not all that grand because it's 40 people running around, and you don't see them.
Like you see one guy get up, pick up, and start fighting again. It's like we gotta reuse the character.
Yeah, we gotta do this.
No, I don't want to. Shut up.
But like, so like, we've gotten spoiled by these movies that do these great like sword against shield.
But
like even Game of Thrones.
Well done. Not every movie has to do that epic battle.
Yeah, but I don't want to see a bunch of people just like because they've done the other ones so well that you see this and it's like you weren't even trying for this one. And then why are there rhinos?
You don't like the fucking rhinos?
No, I thought
You're like well, all right. Well, there were too much CGI. It just wasn't convincing. But I like the idea. The concept on paper must have been awesome.
Yeah.
And then fucking no, you think the whole idea is stupid? It's Africa, man. We gotta use the wildlife. You gotta use the strengths. Of
I guess so. It's like the Oliphant thing in Lord of the Rings, except for they're way bigger and they actually did something. These rhinos did like.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I fucking loved the mountain tribe. I like it when there's a rival who's not necessarily the bad guy, but then sort of, respects the hero and they have to work together.
Vince Vaughn from Anchorman.
Yeah, like fucking, yeah, exactly. Or, yeah, so.
Well, see, I had a problem with that at the end with the battle. Because they want to stay true to their culture and stuff like that. They don't want to do anything with the technology or whatnot. So they come in.
They didn't have any tech?
I don't think so.
Okay.
So they come in and start whooping their ass.
With the bones.
Yes. What?
Well, the shields are pointed the wrong way, Joe. They came from behind. Jeez, come on, man.
Attack. There's miles of nothing.
And they showed up behind. Yeah, Joe. Whatever, man.
They were distracted by the rhinos. The horrible CG rhinos.
But I will say that once we get into the underground cavern where we knock them, the two Black Panthers are fighting, gold and silver.
Just so happened to land on the bridge.
And it's like DBZ a little bit, but the CGI a little distracting. They land on the bridge. Just so happened to shut up, Jake. Yeah, okay, I get what you're saying. But I was like, okay, perfect setting because they turn off the vibranium because the vibranium transport is too volatile, so we're gonna turn off vibranium. So I thought, oh, perfect. Sure. Now these motherfuckers can go back into that sort of brawler mode and it gets bloody and it's rough and tough. And no, we get more sort of CGI pounding back and forth and it's like, oh,
I wanted like the finish from, you remember Speed, the movie Speed with Keanu Reeves? Like I wanted him to
the ending.
He holds up the dude's head and then the exit sign takes it off when they're on the train. But it's like they're fighting next to a high-speed bullet train. It's like I
don't want to go that far because I actually wanted the Michael B. Jordan character to survive, but he ends up fucking dying. And you get your emotion out of it, and I love this character, and that's why I like this villain a lot. But I wanted him to survive. I was like, please don't kill him, please. And they end him in a very respectful way, in a really awesome, emotion-filled moment way. And you feel a little bad for the villain, and that's good. Because you want to add, we haven't had that kind of depth to our protagonist in a little while. And a lot of the the undertones of the film about oppression and, black identity and that kind of stuff, it's not shoved in your face. It's not...
No, it's there, yeah.
It's there and it's all done, in my opinion, in a respectful way. Yeah, you're kind of bringing it... It's kind of odd to bring it up in a comic book world and point out the hypocrisy of, Wakanda not helping out the rest of Africa. And that is basically the main villain's motivation. He's like, you guys have all this technology, you're not helping anybody, and we have an entire race that's being kept down in other countries and stuff, and being mistreated. And even the uncle, who the king kills, this boy has a bloodline, and it's because his father was, the uncle, the brother of the king, and his whole thing was, we're fighting back against this oppression, and they're flooding, the projects and the ghettos with drugs and all that stuff. And so, it has a little bit of a point, but he goes about it in the wrong way.
Yeah.
And that was the sort of the ultimate point. Do we want a tyrant who is going to try to do the right thing and be a tyrant about it, or do we realize the mistake we've made and do it the right way. And that's ultimately the ending. And that's the ending we got, and I think it resolves it in a nice way. But I guess the main character for me just didn't have that charisma to him that Michael B. Jordan had. When Michael B. Jordan dies, I'm like, oh fuck, man, I want him to be Black Panther. But he would have been
chaos though.
Yeah, but maybe if they would have softened him and taught him the ways of his country, because he's lived elsewhere.
Gonna happen. Oh.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, he was one scene away from being the good guy in this movie.
Yeah, and some people who are fucking pissed off. Yeah. He might be the hero of this movie for some people. They're just pissed off with the way things are.
He was the impetus for change, so.
Yeah, so I thought it was really well done and interesting. Love the lore and things that they've done.
The world.
Damn, man, they burned all those. So the Black Panther gets his power by eating this blue heart from a flower.
Yeah,
super serum.
Yep.
Super serum. They can turn it off. They can turn it on. But once the new king gets control, he burns it all. And did they really say it? The CIA guy, he was healed by drinking some of it, because it was just tech that pulled the. Because he sacrifices himself to save T'Challa's sister and
the ex.
Or the ex, yeah. and that's what gets T'Challa to save his life, take him back, and essentially risk exposing his whole country by bringing a CIA operative who will report back to the United States that they have all this stuff. But he does that because he's a man of honor. A lot of really good honor.
My next question: why didn't they save Zuri, Forrest Whitaker? They had the technology. They were there.
Oh, shit.
Because movie, don't think
No, that was a huge spear, Joe. That was a big...
Everett got shot in the spine.
It was a big... They needed several beads.
Yeah.
Pop 3 of those.
A bead.
Shut up, Joe.
They had the technology, like... Maybe 50 yards away.
He's laying in the pool of water. He's like, anybody gonna help me?
He died because he drowned. Nobody flipped him up.
That's because Forrest Whitaker has to die in every single one of these damn movies in order to give it more gravitas. But his death didn't, really have that. It was Michael B. Jordan's.
Just saying.
All right, Joe. I like how you point out something.
No one
turn around.
He's like, wait a minute.
The lab is right there.
Can I get a bead?
Turn me over. I can't breathe.
Can I get a bead? All right, that's it. I thought that Black Panther is cool. He's earned his place. I love his costume. A lot of night scenes here. I guess maybe for me it was a little hard to sort of focus, but when it was bright, I could see everything. That was probably just me.
Some of the battle scenes were good, and some of them were just not good.
Not as good as I thought.
Anytime the general was on screen and she was kicking people's ass with the spear, like, that was amazing.
Yeah, exactly. And the club scene and all that stuff. But that was giving me flashbacks of Resident Evil, and you don't want to be doing that when they're bright in my face. The fake light kind of stuff, because you can kind of tell about that stuff. Anyways, great film overall. You need to see it in theaters. I think it's fantastic. It was everything I wanted it to be. I think these guys maybe just a little bit lower than me, but we'll see. So I hope it does start a franchise though, because I want to go. Would you go back to Wakanda?
Yeah.
You want to go back?
How
to
many
Wakanda?
more Marvel movies are we gonna do?
17. That's Joe. Joe. Every time I ask Joe something, I'm like, how much help you have left? 17.
It's almost close to this one.
17. All right, 17 more
19
movies.
19 with the Submariner.
We're gonna see. Oh yeah. So no, I have to ask you guys before we leave.
What?
So far, all the Marvel movies have been great. There's not been one that has fallen on his face like, oh, that was so bad. Oh, and I'm wondering what character they can choose will they'll fall on their face. So I want to hear it in comments. I brought up
Fantastic
Moon Knight.
Four.
Well, no, we got that. So, but that's Fox's fault,
count.
right? That doesn't count. But I was thinking Moon Knight because he's essentially Black Panther, but he's in white. He's all white. He's got a white.
I liked him in the
Ultimate
X-Men Ultimate Alliance game.
Yeah, he's cool.
In the snow,
but I don't think they can do that.
He's like, his camo is horrible.
And Joe came up with not Hell Rider.
That movie,
Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
No, that was already. Look, we're not talking about movies that came out. We're talking about one that Marvel will do and was awful. Submariner is one. Is that DC? Namor. Is that DC or Marvel? Because there's Submariner and Namor. So that's ours. Joe's
is it Namor the Submariner?
That's what I thought.
And he's on the Illuminati?
Namor the Submariner. I don't know.
I thought he's
but that would be the Marvel film that everybody's like, okay, they went too far.
Yeah.
Or it's a 10 out of motherfucking 10.
There'll be a standalone Hawkeye movie.
But I can't think of any other guys. Put your crazy ass upcoming Marvel failure ideas. Joe's gonna be the negative one for
it's
one.
It's gonna
of
be
them.
the Submariner one, where he's gonna be like, I fucking hated this movie. And I'm like, 10 out of 10.
Yeah,
greatest thing ever.
And Alex is 10 out of 10 on Submariner.
Well, can you see my points that I made though?
What were your points again?
I wanted Michael B. Jordan to be a little bit more in the movie.
Because he's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
dragged a little.
Yeah,
a little. Not a lot. I'm just a little.
Yeah.
Oh, and do you agree with Alex about this a little bit of the cutback, and me, a little bit about the cutback of the battle? You think it's going to go global, or you think at least we're going to get a little bit of that and it pulled it back, and we're taking off this? No, you stay here. But I know it's T'Challa doing his job. Nobody fucking reveal. I'll do the reveal later, but it kind of cut that battle down.
I've seen larger team-on-team baseball fights. Like, where the dugouts rush each other, than in that final fight of that movie. Like, seriously, there's 30 people running around, like, fighting each other. That's it.
That's all the people that were available in that one little city.
The guys from the mountains come down, and there's 10 of them. Like, 10 of them come down, it's like, we're going to turn the tide of the fight with my stick. And he does.
It was just one rhino, right?
No, there were multiple, but
no, there's 2 rhinos.
They focused on 1 or 2, yeah.
She made it seem like he was blowing his horn, and he was like,
"Oh shit!
Don't do it!"
I thought it was going to be a ton of soldiers or something,
then,
or it was like
2 rhinos come. You're like, what?
Okay,
That's
I see y'all's guys' point.
That's it. Really?
She
took
took out
a big fuss, and nothing really happened.
The general took out a Range Rover going 100 miles an hour, and when she throws a spear into the asphalt earlier in the film, and this rhino, she's just like, can't do anything, sorry.
Well, Rhino going full speed, a little scarier than a
but
car.
She liked the rhino. She didn't want to kill the rhino.
Right. Exactly. That's her rhino, dummy.
Didn't T'Challa like wrapped one up in broken metal from the airplane, right? Or the little drone
no,
thing?
he didn't.
Yeah, he wrestles to the ground and then he bends metal over it, right?
He makes him go to sleep. He says, go to sleep. Go to sleep.
He rammed against the metal part.
Yeah,
he didn't give a fuck about the rhinos. He doesn't care.
Yeah, he's a Panther, Joe. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. But yeah, he's. I like that. I like that. There's a. Okay, all right. So there's the 2 points. Yeah.
Don't do it!
No!
2 things.
Because it's less
Move
scary.
out the way.
Like, he definitely knows the name of both of those rhinos. It wasn't like he summoned the whole herd. He's like, oh no, you
If there was a whole herd, yeah, then we'd be like, okay.
You summoned Bill and Ted. Oh no, what are we going to do?
We spent so much money on CGI on the city and they couldn't afford people.
Yeah, all the money went on that set design because that one basket store costed a lot of money. That same goddamn basket store 7 times.
Fuck these guys.
8.
9.
Okay.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching.
Oh, you're recording this?
And we'll see
okay.
you on the next Angry Joe Show. Yeah, I want to throw this shit at the
shit is
end.
good, though.
I'm going to actually just start putting our outtakes here at the end with no context whatsoever because we always come up with funny things before we do it. I'm just putting it here.
That's
so
fine by me.
you got to see that. All right. See you guys later.